as our division heats up. The Thrash Society, the taller of the two with the mohawk, the new violent breed, J.B. Anderson, alongside the human hand grenade, Boom Hayden, looking for a signature win over one of the foundational tag teams here in 1CW.
They say don't be violent in the face of my trainers. We can talk about it later. My city came in, flipping tables. I'm a crusader. And their opponents making their way to the ring from Richie Woods, Tiny Tim, and Mark Junior Dangerfield, the WorkHorses.
Mark Jr. Dangerfield, one of the most prolific wrestlers in 1CW, the man who's the head of the Workhorse Training Center.
Under other circumstances, you would say that the underdogs would be the Thrash Society because the Workhorses have held tag team gold here in 1CW before. On most days, I'd agree with you. But this has the makings for a real different paradigm because while the Workhorses as a unit have held gold before, it's never been this combination, a relatively new configuration of the unit, as Mark Jr. Dangerfield is now joined by Tiny Tim as the sort of workhorse that he's taking under his wing. And I think in a lot of respects that means these two teams are a lot more even than one might suspect.
Mark Jr. Dangerfield, like I said, one of the most prolific wrestlers here. He's had this workhorse team that's been going on for so long.
The Thrash Society immediately taking it to the Workhorses.
Thrash Society, I love watching these guys. They're relatively new to 1CW, but my favorite thing about them is they feel like such a throwback tag team. They are such an NWA-style tag team. They love brawling. They love fighting. Not really so much for the big flippy-dippy maneuvers. They just want to fight.
Well, they're not just relatively new to 1CW. They are relatively new to professional wrestling, only about a year and a half into their respective journeys and as a tag team. What they're not new at is getting into a fight. They are a walking barroom brawl. They got into wrestling because they said, and I quote, "Where else can I legally headbutt someone?" And let me tell you, they've illegally headbutted people before. They've faced the ramifications of the law. They found pro wrestling because now they get paid for what they used to do time for.
And the greatest thing about them is they take a lot of their style, believe it or not, from the heavy metal, the punk lifestyle, making themselves completely walking weapons. Every part of their body is a weapon. They just want to use their body to hit people.
Well, I absolutely believe it. I think they wear their influences, well, not on their sleeves. They cut off their sleeves. But right now, two devastating noogies being dealt to Boom Hayden. And I don't know if you remember when you used to be bullied, because I am sure you were bullied, Mike, but that hurts.
If I was ever on the receiving end of one, I might agree with you.
Are you going to tell me you've never had a noogie?
No.
I'm going to fix that tonight, baby. Don't turn your back.
Mark Jr. Dangerfield going in. Tiny Tim with the roll.
Tiny Tim so much more graceful, so much more agile than you might expect. And almost taking the victory.
Same thing for Mark Jr. Dangerfield. They both look like, no matter how hard they are fighting, Mark always looks like he's having fun.
And now throwing the vest into the ring and blinding Tiny Tim. That's J.B. Anderson, the Mosh Haas. And these two teams are kind of similar size composition. Both have a big bruiser and both have a smaller, faster member. So in a lot of ways, very different musical tastes, I'm guessing, but similar styles in the ring.
Similar styles in the ring. And also one of the interesting things to watch is just the way. You said that they've only been doing this about a year and a half. They're already pretty good at cutting off the ring. They're doing a great job keeping Tiny Tim in their own corner, making sure that he doesn't have a chance to go tag in Mark Jr. Dangerfield.
Well, any heavy metal enthusiast will let you know how to cut the room in half with a wall of death. They're using that exact same kind of strategy as a tag team in professional wrestling. You got to use what you know, and these two know how to throw down. They want to make the wrestling ring their own personal pit.
Tiny Tim trying to get a couple of blows and get a comeback. Not seeming to work so much for him yet. He's going to have to work just a little bit harder. Again, we mentioned about how long Mark Jr. Dangerfield's been doing this. Tiny Tim, not so much.
And now the human hand grenade, Boom Hayden in. A master of clotheslines. You know how Dallas Page used to be able to hit the diamond cutter out of almost any situation. The same can be said about Boom Hayden and his clotheslines. That is the boom that he is referring to.
Just hammering away the chest of Tiny Tim. And you're going to notice that they are continually attacking the upper part of the body, the upper chest. They're attacking the upper back. They're really making it so that when they have those big hits that they're known for, the big forearms, the big clotheslines, that it finally has them softened up enough just to get for the 3 count.
Well, I don't mean this in a negative way, but you're not looking for finesse out of the Thrash Society. They very much would like to knock their opponents unconscious. Their preferred means of victory is a referee stoppage. You're not going to see hold for hold. You're going to see big, big blows.
I don't think Thrash Society can spell finesse.
I can't speak for Boom Hayden. I know that J.B. Anderson is actually a highly, highly intelligent man. He just doesn't like playing by the rules. Boom, on the other hand, Boom a bit of a wild card.
I feel like the more pain that Tiny Tim is in, the happier Boom's going to sleep, the better he's going to sleep at night.
I don't think Boom sleeps. I mean, this guy is wired all the time. Maybe the only way he can sleep is by tiring himself out, by brutalizing an opponent, as we're seeing those clotheslines I mentioned before just over and over again.
J.B. Andrews going behind the ref's back. Elbow to the back of the head.
They said there were too many rules in the real world, so they came into pro wrestling. Not a surprise then to see them bend, if not outright break, what few rules we do enforce here in the world of the squared circle.
Both men just toying with Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim has been in this match for a long time. He's taken a lot of punishment, and that stage dive, headbutt.
Mark Dangerfield looked like he almost saw enough.
But Junior Dangerfield has just been stuck on the outside, unable to provide much assistance to his charge. I wonder if he is rethinking the strategy about this configuration of the Workhorses.
I would hope so for at least... So at least Tiny Tim might be able to get a little bit of a respite after this. He's got to be wondering how much he wants to put Tiny Tim in danger. Mark Jr. Dangerfield with the Fan Danley cares about each and every member of that Workhorse training center.
And Boom Hayden up and over, and finally Mark Jr. Dangerfield, by far the most experienced and maybe the most powerful member of either unit in the ring.
By far, he has about 5 times the experience of all 3 men's time put together.
A prolific trainer, now double team cohesion by the Workhorses. Dangerfield.
3 count. That is experience. That is what 24 or 27 years gets you.
Turns out the key to victory for the Workhorses is just tag in Mark Jr. Dangerfield. It was about 37 seconds from tag to finish. Dangerfield really earning his paycheck this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Mike Thrash. With me is Jason Heat. We will be back with more 1CW with such a big night. We've got so much still to come.